Hello there. Yeah, in the videos that I do like to talk about brands because it's such an integral part of reselling. You do have to know what brands sell well and which brands don't really. Skechers is a brand, especially with shoes, that sells really, really well. And I'm going to give you an example of that in this video. If you look at my previous videos, you'll see that I talk about brands that usually have outlet shops on city high streets, such as Cardiff, my local city, and the brands as well that are charging 50 quid and above for a pair of shoes. They're the ones to look at in terms of reselling, and Skechers certainly fall into this category. They spend a lot of money on advertising so that they can knock up the price of their shoes, so that does leave a good gap in the reselling market, especially with a brand that has such a big following such as Skechers, to actually work, and the shoes are good and the shoes are comfortable. So this is In, On and Gone video number 50. My name is James Smith and I run channel JR74. Please like, comment, subscribe to your heart's content. So let's have a look, shall we, at the example that I'm going to use for Skechers to basically tell you why they're such a good reselling brand. Okay, these were a pair of Skechers, classic fit, travel well boots, men's boots. And they were in nice condition as well. Picked them up for £8. Usually in charity shops, £5 is some would do it for a fiver, okay, but some see the name Skechers and add a bit of money on for it. I wouldn't have gone above 10 for these, so 8, yeah, okay, that's roundabout all right. Took an offer including postage at 25, and the fees were just under £10 on that, okay, for the postage and for the eBay fee and for the fee for the 10% promotion. These shoes were in good nick, and I knew I'd get above 20, so I did put them on at 10%. I've been looking recently. I think you'll see later on in the video that my philosophy of putting all trainers on at 10%, one that I've employed recently, isn't quite working. So we've got to go back to the drawing board on that as to how much to promote. It's part of the skill of reselling on eBay. And the only way that you can actually know what is best is by trying out different things, which I'm doing, and then telling you the results. This is all about education. All right. So I got back on those Skechers boots, £15.27, which gave me £7.27 profit, which is 90%. Now, regular viewers of this channel will know that my target is 50 to 100. I believe that is a realistic target. Okay, I am getting some comments saying that I'm selling too low. Yeah, okay, I can take that, okay, because maybe I am. But I want to shift the things quick. All right, we can have this conversation till the cows come home, but if you want top price, you've got to have the stuff in your store for quite a long time. All right, and we're only talking about an extra £5 to £10 on these. I'd much rather sell them quickly, reinvest, get something else back in, and sell that as well in the time that it would take to sell one pair of shoes. All right, yeah, it's different models, isn't it? And at the moment I'm sticking to this model. Maybe in the future I'll start to shift towards maybe not wanting to shift things so quickly. Maybe if my business grows and I get a bigger premises than my current shed, we could see if anything comes from that. But yeah, Skechers shoes, okay, absolute winner. If you ever find any in really nice condition, doesn't really matter what type they are or what whether they're for men or women, if they're in nice condition and they're between £5 and £8, I reckon you'll make some money on them, okay, if you take some good photographs as well for them. Okay, so as you know, In, On and Gone is all about me showing you what is coming into the store, what is on the store, and what is gone from the store. On the store is easy. Have a look below and there is a link to my store. What has gone from the store are split into two parts. Stuff that sells within 7 days, which I'm covering now. Those Skechers that I just told you about sold within 7 days. And stuff that takes longer, but I feel that I need to tell you about. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you about is a nice pair of golf shorts. Hobbies sell. Golf is a hobby. These were a nice pair of black Puma golf shorts. So sort of like for these, the black, the greys, the beiges, the navy blues. All right. In terms of golf shorts, usually sell very, very well. The ones with patterns on, like a check or a little bit of stripe, okay, or a bit of like a geometric pattern or something like that, they sometimes take a little bit longer to shift. I reckon with golfers, I mean, I'm a golfer myself, maybe the shirts are a little bit leery. All right, maybe, you know, some are up for wearing a leery shirt, but the shorts, usually the plain ones are the best ones in terms of selling, in terms of speed of selling, and in terms of getting a good price for them. Now, these ones I sourced at £1.90. They were part of a big bundle that I sourced just before Christmas. And what I've been doing is I've been slowly trickling them in, basically because I'm not going to, you know, that way you don't really notice it in the washing. Because all the garments that I sell, I do wash before I put them on. I wash and clean them. All right, there's nothing worse than somebody actually having a garment that isn't. The only time that has happened was it was a jacket. It was a nice jacket, but it did have a bit of a charity shop whiff to it, shall we say. But I'm not going to stick it through the washing machine or anything like that because that could damage it. So I sold it as it was. And the person actually came back to me and said, you know, I had to put this out on the line and spray it a little bit. Can I have a refund? And so we negotiated a couple of quid back for the time spent putting it on the line. But anyway, okay, kept the customer happy, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Right, these Puma golf shorts, £1.90, as I said, sold them for £11.60, including postage. So I got back £7 on them. All right, that was £5.10p profit. That is 268%. So that is a good sourcing price and something that I was quite pleased with. And they sold really quickly as well. So, yeah, all round, Puma golf shorts, good sale. Next up, a nice pair of Nike 77 Blazers, like the mid-size boots, with a little bit about them. I thought these would be desirable, okay, because they were like a leopard skin print on them. And there are many ladies that love a bit of leopard skin, all right? So I thought, yeah, these will be nice. So I cleaned them up a little bit and put them on. Now, they sold within the week. They sold quick. But at first, I think I put them on at around about 25, okay? I paid £9.70 for them. And somebody was coming in with an offer of like 10. And I was like, well, no, I can't do that. So I put it up to 17 and I heard nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then somebody came in and paid full whack for them. So, you know, it does pay sometimes to maybe delay a little bit. I'm not, you might think that I take the first offer that comes along. I don't, okay? I don't. I'll only take an offer that will give me a loss if I feel that I'm not going to get any higher on it. But because I'm trying new things with so many products and new ways of doing things, sometimes you do have to take that. Okay. But anyway, these didn't. £9.70 I paid for them. £28.60 was the offer with postage. So I took it. £17.93 back. £8.23 profit. 84% markup. So well within my target bracket. Yeah, happy with that. Let's go. Next up in the ones that have sold quick, linen. Keep saying it, don't I? Keep saying it, Linen. And these ones were just a linen/cotton blend trouser, okay? They were nice, and they were a colour away from your typical black, grey, beige, blue. These were just a pair of white ones. Now, with the white trousers, you do have to check that there's no, like, stains on them or anything like that. A white trouser is desirable. They usually sell quite quickly, as long as your photographs can show that they are in pretty good condition. And I tried my very best through my photographs to show this. The brand that they were made by was Maine, okay, which from memory, is like a Debenhams brand, and Debenhams doesn't exist anymore. But the brands that were existing within Debenhams, like John Rocher, Maine, Mantray, they still do sell, and they still do sell quite well. Those brands are still up in people's heads as a decent brand. So these were Maine, and they were linen cotton blend, 50% of each. So a nice pair of summer lightweight trousers. Okay, I paid £3.50 for them and got £11.10 back, £6.43 profit, £2.93. Sorry, £6.43 back, £2.93 profit, 83%. Okay, just one of those things that just keeps the business ticking. All right, so yeah, I was pleased with that. That's fine. All right, quick sale. If you said to any investor, do you want to make 83% in a couple of days, they'll say yes. Next up, another pair of trousers. I did do a video a few weeks back on just how well trousers sell, and it is something that I like to work with. There is definitely a difference throughout the year with the trousers, like jeans and everything sell very well end of August going into October, but at this time of year it is the chinos, it is the summer trousers that are selling very, very well. And Marks and Spencer's, I don't know, people might think I have shares in them. I don't, but you know, but that's only because at the moment, if you look at their share price at the moment, it's up there. All right, it's the highest it's been for a very long time. If it was what it was a couple of years ago, I might have done it. I might have invested, but not at the price they're at the moment. Okay, God, financial advice coming from me as well. Smithy, when do you stop? Honestly, this is an absolute maze of knowledge that you're giving us. Anyway, these were just a pair of 34 short regular fit chinos, £3.50 I paid for them. You can find these in charity shops for this sort of price quite easily. £10.60 was the offer. I accepted it. £6 back, £2.50 profit, 71%. And I'm just going to have to stop quickly because my sister is calling me. Let's see what she has to say. Right then, all that sorted out. A couple of minutes later, okay. Yeah. Adidas. Stan Smith's. Good sellers. All right, good sellers, especially this time of year. Classic sort of look for the summer, especially in white. These were a really, really nice pair of prime greens and white in colour. And they also had like a bit of Velcro on the back, and you could change the colour of the Adidas trefoil, the logo. So, yeah, that's something about it. I sold a pair of Nikes recently as well, where the ticks were interchangeable in their colour and their style. I think there was about 3 different ones that you could have. So, yeah, that's sometimes worth doing. These were a nice size as well, size 8s. Sourced for £8, sold for 16. I think my sourcing price there wasn't great. Not really. And considering I sold at 10% promotion as well, I only got £8.95 back, 95p profit, 12%. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about now. I've got to basically work out now which ones are worth putting on at 10%, okay, because they will sell quickly and you'll get a decent amount of money back, and which ones you just put on at 2%. They're the sort of like the bread and butters that will go, but will take a little bit longer, but you do get more profit. These I needed to put on at 2% and not 10, and that would have probably taken me into my target bracket of 50 to 100%. All right, so yeah. Now, and I'm just about to show you now another example of, yeah, I'll sit here and I'll admit it's a mistake that I made, but the only way in which you realise it's a mistake and not do it again, okay, is to try, okay? By trying it on one product, you then know for the next 100 products that you get that are similar, what to do with them. So you've got to put yourself out there and you've got to try different things. Look at me there, ducking and diving. That's the way to do it. Yeah, and these were a pair of Adidas size 9 Gazelles. Nice, black and white. They were suede, but the suede wasn't absolutely pristine throughout. Okay, they didn't look brand new. It had looked as though they had been worn, especially on the soles as well. And I paid £9.84 for them because they were a vintage buy. I just wanted to try just to see if I would get something for them, because, you know, there are plenty of gazelles on Vinted for this sort of price. Now, it went for 15. Okay, and because I promoted at 10%, I only got £7.95 back. Okay, so you can imagine then that the profit isn't there. It's a minus. Okay, minus £1.89, which is minus 19%. So I took a hit on that. As I say, I'm honest. I tell you everything. All right, I will tell. I think it's because this is educational. It is really important not to just talk to you about the profits, but to talk to you about the ones that didn't work as well. All right, and that's the service that I give. All right, that's the service. Okay, because it makes up these videos. And as I said, I want it to be educational. I want you to learn all about reselling from these videos. So yeah, those gazelles didn't quite work. If I promote at 2%, they will still sell. It will take a little bit longer. Okay, but there will be a small profit in them. That will probably, if I sold them at 2%, you're probably looking at about 30% profit. All right. And if you have got a template set up and all you've got to do is just take a couple of pictures to put them on, you're only really taking about 5 to 6 minutes of your time to actually list them. So, and again, it gets eyes to your store. It's not all about profit. It is getting people aware of your store and getting eyes on your store, okay, from as many different sources as you possibly can. And those sources include products that have a lot of desire and a lot of looks at them. All right. I did initially start with these gazelles, putting them on for about £22. They were having a lot of looks, okay, but no watches. So that told me that I priced them too high. All right. Nobody was even clicking the watching. They were looking at them thinking, nah. Okay. And as soon as I dropped the price on them, I got that offer. All right. So I just knew that it was highly unlikely that I was going to make profit from them. So I took that offer and got the money back and then reinvest in something else. All right. That's the way I rock and roll. Okay, so the numbers from what I have just told you about, from the quick sellers, these are. For those quick sellers, I think there was 7 in all. I paid £44.44. I got back £69.53, which was £25.09 profit. Okay, for each, and if divided by 7, £3.58. But remember, I had that loss. So I'm normally aiming for about £4 per profit per item, because then if you sell 5 items a day, that's about £20 a day. So then you're looking at about 500 quid a month, which is, I feel, a realistic target for something like this. If you want to go higher than that, then you need more time in terms of sourcing. And, you know, it's like going full time. I would say all of the eBay resellers that I see on YouTube are usually, and the people that do it full time, are usually either 25 to 30. Okay, so when you go back in time, when they're like 18, 19, they're still living with their parents, and they've got the time and the support to develop their itinerary, to develop their stock, and to really build that, because they've got the support. They haven't got a mortgage to pay, haven't got bills to pay or anything like that, and they can begin to develop it into a really, really good business. And boy, do I wish that when I was 18, I think eBay was really, really in its infancy. It was just about starting to develop, as well as the internet. It just wasn't around then. I'm not jealous. Does it show? So all in all, for those, it was 84% average markup for those products as well. So for things that sell in a week, that's not bad, is it? Not really. Okay, so what's taken a little bit longer? What's taken longer than a week to sell? All right, first one I'm going to tell you about, and these are worth picking up it was just from a car boot somewhere. It's just this stoneware milk jug, and I paid £1 for it. And yeah, it took 6 months to sell. All right, so as long as you photograph them well and give the details like how tall it is, how wide it is, etc., just so that people can have a good idea. In fact, actually, in some of the photos, actually putting it next to a typical mug, just so that people can, because everybody knows how big a typical mug is. So that really does show the size of whatever it is. And then in your title, you've got to put as much as you possibly can in terms of detail and the listings as well. This was stoneware, so if somebody likes stoneware and thinks, oh yeah, well that looks nice, that they'll take it. So, you know, and as well, plenty of bubble wrap. All right, plenty of bubble wrap, and you've got to have the boxes ready to package it. But I sold this for £8.60. £4.63 back, £3.63 profit. Okay, so 363% markup. Okay, which yeah, I was pleased with. All right, so yeah, these little knick-knacky type things, you know, they don't take up much space on the storage, and it certainly is something that we could look at, even though I've said in previous videos that I'm going to leave ceramics alone. It's a difficult one. It is difficult because I have some that broke. I had a butter dish. That's right. It was a nice butter dish and it broke. There's not a lot you can do about it. I did wrap it properly, but it didn't survive the journey, unfortunately. God knows what Royal Mail do to these things in terms of chucking them about. But yeah, I even marked it fragile, but it still broke. Okay, so that's the risk that you take. All right, I've got the money, you know, I've refunded the person and I got the money back from Royal Mail as well. So yeah, you do get your money back, but it does take a bit of time. Next up was a nice Lacoste polo. Yeah, these sell. You know, they're a stylish brand, okay, and you know, as long as you haven't got any rips or tears in them, and as long as they're still in decent condition, you know, in terms of you don't want them to be bobbled and stuff like that, and as long as your photographs show that these are in decent condition, then you know that's good. £4 I paid for it, £15.60 I sold it for, £10.27 back, £6.27 profit. That's 156%. So yeah, the ones that take a bit longer, when I tell you about in the videos, usually you have higher markups on them, okay, but yeah, I was pleased with that, okay, and that's good. We move on. Next one, you might as well just say hello, this is the 1990s calling. These were a pair of Sergio Tacchini, however you would say it. Okay, I can remember Pat Cash wearing the checkered Sergio headbands when he won Wimbledon and climbed into the crowds. But these were a pair of 3/4 trousers, all right, or long shorts below the knee, whatever you want to call them, with like a little bit of drawstring on the bottom of them as well, or elasticated with the little tag on that you can adjust the tension with. All right, but these were good, and I think these took about a month to sell. And I paid £3 for them, £11.60 I got, £6.85 back, £3.85 profit, 128% markup. All right, so yeah, again, double my money on those. So yeah, and again, they were white. So again, checking to make sure that there's no tears, rips, stains on them. Stains is the big one. All right. I really did check them carefully to make sure, but no, they were fine. They were clean. So yeah, they went on, and it didn't take long for them to shift. Good. And finally, for me to tell you about stuff that's taken a bit longer to sell, a pair of Rohan trousers. Rohan, very good brand, will sell, and usually sells for a good price. These were a pair of Rohan Goa trousers, like walking trousers, and they were sort of like a drawstring top and an elasticated bottom. They looked a little bit like jogging trousers, okay? But the good thing about Rohan is on their label, they'll always have what the style name is. So these were Rohan Goa. $4.99 paid, £13.60 I sold them for, £8.72 back, £3.73 profit, 74%. So well within my 50 to 100 bracket, okay, target bracket. So yeah, that's good. All right, that's good. Virtually everything that I've told you about this time has fallen into my target bracket or gone above my target bracket. You know, please like and comment. I do enjoy reading the comments, and it does give me material for future videos, which is really what I'm looking for. And you know, we can discuss everything reselling based on this platform, which is what I want. All right, so what am I putting on this week? I think this week I did take a laptop to bits, an old laptop to bits recently, which is in this box just here, and there's loads of bits that I need to put on from the laptop. I did do one on a Samsung Chromebook, and that made me money. In the end, by breaking that down, it made me about 40 to 50 quid. It took about a year, but you know, they don't take up much storage space, and as long as you label them properly, and the use of Google Lens so that you can tell exactly what each part is. I'm no computer expert, but Google Lens is, and if you take a picture of it with the Google Lens, it can tell you exactly what it is. And also, most of these components have like a manufacturer's name on and a serial number, so it is quite easy to look up exactly what they are. I mean, I know what a speaker looks like, I know what a battery looks like, but you've also, if you put down the exact things like a lithium Li-on battery or whatever it is with the voltage and stuff like that on, that's what people are looking for. So that's you're giving as much information as you possibly can. Don't just say laptop battery. Okay, say what model you took it out of and what manufacturer it came from and stuff like this, and that should help with its sales. All right, if you don't, then it could just be on your store for an absolute eternity. All right, we don't want that. We want things to sell quickly. What else have I put on this week? Taken some more trousers have gone on, and there is a pair. Where are they? Yeah, here they are. Look at that pair of Sturbert golf boots. Okay, not exactly needed for this time of year, all right, but you can see there it's got a little bit of mud on it. High pressure hose will take that off. Get the old Karcher on that, and that'll take that off nicely, and just leave them out to dry for the rest of the day. Karchers are absolutely superb things, especially if you've got like a pair of like synthetic running shoes that are a bit muddy. Get the Karcher on. Not close up, mind. It will destroy them if it's close up. Honestly, these things are so powerful. You got to take it back a little bit. So start back, all right, and then maybe get a little bit further forward until you can see the mud actually coming out of them. All right, there's another tip for you. Karcher pressure washers. Right, it's been a pleasure. I haven't really decided the sort of video that I'm going to do this week yet. I might have a look around and see what videos are trending on eBay, and then come up with something. I might actually do something on the comments that people are making. I did do one last week, 10 tips about selling clothing, and that seems to be doing all right. It's got a few comments already and quite a few views, so you know, people do like the 10 tips videos. I did one about 3 months ago, 10 things that sell really well. I've actually made a list of another 10, so I might do that one for this week. 10 other products that sell really well on eBay, or what I've found to sell well as well. Interesting, I did put down that I've never been a big fan of selling shirts, and I did mention that in my last video, and I've got some comments saying, no, we sell shirts and they do really well. So yeah, that's something that I could look at. Maybe take a bit of a dive back into the old shirts. Maybe I just wasn't doing it properly. Maybe there's a certain type of shirt that I've got to be looking for. But if people are saying that they sell well, then you can't ignore that. All right, you can't ignore it. Always listen to what folk are saying. Okay, keep those ears open, keep that mind open. Don't think that you know it all. All right, that's a huge tip. Any resellers out there, Do not think that you know it all. Great, super. I've run out of stuff to say. All right, but I'll see you again later in the week. I think it's time to cut the grass as well. Busy. See you soon. Bye-bye.